actually, thank you, Sheena. While we're getting into it, I just want to thank everybody who was on the call last week to listen to Darius, who we had on, and then also stayed to the very end to help us think through kind of his various situations, right? So that was very beneficial actually for myself and for him. So, and hopefully people got value from that, as we were thinking through his, I don't want to call it a problem, but the issue he was looking at and trying to see if we can throw resources or help him structure the deal, so I just want to say thank you for those who, stuck by, stayed on. That was great. And it meant a lot to him. So, but any leads needs good deeds. All right. Well, we can move on. If anybody does have anything, you can always unmute. Greg, I saw you unmute. You got something?
Yeah, I'm on the fence. But yeah, I think I might have emailed you or texted you or something on the last time I was on the call. It was like 2 weeks ago. But I had to jump off. I didn't have time to stay on. But I felt like I wanted to share about this wholesale deal that had sent to me. Actually a few different times by different people, but most recently by one of the big mainland, like those people that you get all those emails from, where like they have like the big corporate looking emails for their wholesales. And yeah, one of those big, I don't remember what the name was or anything, and I don't, name is not important, but yeah, I'd gotten their email. The funny thing is I had been watching the property on the online auction, and I had actually talked to the seller a couple of years ago, and then a local wholesaler had locked it up and sent it to me another couple of years later. And then a few weeks ago, I saw it on the online auction and I was watching it, I was like, the price is starting already too high, but I'm still watching it anyway. I saw it get locked up. And then like the next day, one of my friends had actually also been asking me about it. Hey, what do you think of this property? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, I know the history there. I've seen it and talked to the guys, and like it's rough. Like it's really rough. And there was something going on with it where like the owner was like kind of being strong-armed out of his home by like the local boys that I don't know. I guess like I don't really remember the exact details, but there's something about like a local gang, which you don't see a lot of on Maui, but I guess it exists. It was like basically taking over his house and using it as a drug still selling like headquarters or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember the exact details. I just know like it was a messed up situation, and I felt really bad for the owner. Point of this whole story is that I got the email from the big mainland kind of like wholesale company, and when I went through the email, the pictures and like the ARVs, just like everything, I was like, man, we all know like they tend to like push the ARV, like, take the best looking pictures and stuff like that. But like, holy cow, man, they used pictures from like 5 years ago or something, like before all the drama went down. And like the house looks perfect. Or no, here's what it was. They used the old MLS pictures from like, it was at least 5 years ago. They were like old pictures, but like it looks really nice in those pictures because it was before the whole place got trashed. And obviously I don't think they did it on purpose, right? Like these guys just are sitting in their office in Kentucky or whatever and bidding online and then doing all their research, like the remote wholesaling, I guess. So and that's what I'm assuming. I doubt that they purposely found like made this property look like better than it was. But I just got concerned when I saw it because I thought, man, I know the backstory. I know what the inside of that house looks like. Like I've got pictures of it. I
Yeah.
looked at the pictures, and and I sent them to my friend that had been asking about it. I was like, look, man, those pictures that they're sending out is not what that house looks like. And of course, they've got their disclosure, but I wanted to share it on Coffee Talk, and I really wanted to share it a couple weeks ago, but I just didn't get the chance. I had to sign off before, but I just wanted to hopefully, just in case anybody here was looking at it and might not have been fortunate enough to have come across the things that I had come across with it in the past. If I didn't know the history behind it, I would be a lot more interested in it, the deal, because if I didn't know what the inside actually looked like, and that I didn't know that, like, I don't know if it was a gang or what it was. Like, there was just something where, like, the guy basically could not, like, he was being kicked out of his own home by some other people. I think it was like drug dealers or something. I'm almost positive. Um, but anyways, yeah, if I didn't know all that, like, that's a lot of risk to take on, because they might give the same kind of, I don't know if they're still around, or if they're gonna
Yeah.
start giving the same trouble to the new owners, or how that's what's gonna happen with that. But that's something that somebody might have no clue. That's like one of those risks too, that it comes in with our business, but we don't really like talk about, because how often does something like that happen, right?
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
wonder
So
if
I
you
just
should
wanted
just
to bring it up,
respond
and
to that email, and just respond and just say,
oh,
hey,
I
I don't
did.
know if you walked to this property, but it's definitely not the photos that you're putting out there. I'd be,
Oh, I told it. Oh,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
totally. I told him. I was like, "Hey, man, just so you know, like, I'm pretty familiar with this property. Like, this guy has called me in the past before this foreclosure happened. Like, I've got a ton of pictures, and I've gotten pictures sent to me from from another wholesaler here locally also. I was like, this is not what this property looks like. And furthermore, like, you're using comps from like Moana Estates. Like, come on, man. I know on the mainland, like, if you're just looking at a map, that looks like it's a good comp, but not even close, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that $2 million house, that is not a comp, man. This thing's worth 1.2 or whatever it was. Like I told him, like, I wasn't trying to be a jerk or anything, but like, it's a little bit frustrating,
Yeah.
like, because if I mean, I'm just thinking, man, if I was a newbie and I didn't know any better, and I looked at this guy's numbers and believed it, and I see that all the time, where people send me a deal, like, hey, I'm looking at this deal, I'm looking for funding, blah blah blah, and I dig into the deal, and then I got to come back and be the one to tell them, like, hey, man, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but that you're going to be upside down the day you close on this thing. That is not a deal at all. And it's upsetting, because, like, that's how that kind of stuff happens, and I don't think anybody's doing it on purpose, but yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Anyways, that house is in Kihei, and it's it's a house on Kaahele Place, in case anybody is looking at that. It still hasn't closed yet, so hopefully they haven't assigned it.
Mhm.
But yeah, if
Well,
anybody is looking at that property, feel free to reach out to me directly, and I'll share everything that I know about it. There's a lot more detail. I don't want to get too much into, like, bashing on people or anything, but
right. Yeah.
I just don't want to see somebody get screwed over
Yeah. Totally.
because these guys
Hopefully
are
it's not done.
misrepresenting a deal.
Yeah, maliciously, maybe they are just
I
virtually,
doubt it. Yeah.
and like, but I mean, still, that's what happens when you virtually wholesale. Like, even though you're wholesaling, it's like you're still not relieved of liability, because you're playing with people's kind of like situations with this scenario. Like, that's an unfortunate situation where this guy's getting kind of booted out of his own house, probably so much so where he now has to sell it he's a distressed homeowner that he has to sell it quick, and get out of there. But then a company comes in, possibly promising them, a higher, you know, price, but they're really just gonna flip the contract. Then, and you're gonna flip it
Did
to an
they did they
investor.
did the wholesalers buy it off the auction and then trying to like resell it, or what, do you know what happened?
Oh yeah, did they buy
Yeah,
it?
exactly. So all they did was win the auction,
Ooh.
and then because I was bidding, I was watching the auction. I mean, I didn't actually bid, but I was watching it. It went too high for me, but like as soon as the auction
Right.
ended and these guys won it, they actually won it below the reserve, and the bank, I guess the bank accepted it. Like within, I think it was later that day or the very next day, we got the email from this, big time, like with, with the big logo, like blah, 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 wholesale.
Who are the wholesalers for this one?
Oh man, should I?
Name and shame, dude.
All right, I guess they deserve it. Okay, so let me pull
Well,
that up
also
here.
take it
I
with
don't
a grain of salt, right? Because they could be
Yeah, I
virtually
mean,
selling.
it could be a big operation. You can have like one guy, I mean, like, and
But
then
regardless,
they don't know.
Oh,
They don't
I
know
mean,
Hawaii too. Like I see, like, I mean, I see wholesalers promising the world like all the time. Like if you buy, yeah, just if you're buying from a wholesaler, just be aware, right? Like it's kind of par for the course.
yeah, totally. Hey, and as somebody that wholesales, I've done it myself where like I misrepresent something and then more information comes out. And later on, I go back and I'm like, I'm sorry, you know what? I didn't know this when I was running ARVs.
Mhm.
Forget it. This isn't a deal. I'm canceling it. I'm not going to sell it to you because you're not going to make money. But like,
no.
I don't know. I was kind of disappointed with this guy's response because he was just like, "Oh, cool. Will you send me the pictures so we can use, that you have so that we can use them to make money and stuff?" And like, he's like, I don't know. His response was not like what I would have hoped.
So he's not
Like
here.
I would have hoped he would have said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, he doesn't know." And I don't think anybody did anything on purpose, but it's still like, I would hope. I want everyone also to be aware. I'm glad that now I'm aware. And I just want to help everybody else kind of be aware, like, okay, if you see deals from these guys, and I mean from any wholesaler at all, do your own due diligence, because what they say the ARV is, I don't know. I try to be really conservative and realistic, but like, an ARV is completely subjective. So 10 different buyers will have 10 ARVs.
Yeah.
Okay, so here I found the email here. Sorry,
Well, I
it's
mean,
taking a second to come up.
Yeah, the main point is that we should all just do our own due diligence, right? I don't think these guys made it out to be malicious, but like still, that's not really cool, but they put the risk.
Yeah.
If you bought it at auction, then they took the risk, and now they got to deal with it. I wonder if they actually realized, well, it sounds like they didn't realize what they bought. Oh, hopefully there's nobody living in there. Hopefully the owner's not living in there, because if the owner's living in there and he knows how to fight the foreclosure, he can fight the thing indefinitely, sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I learned through other people's, mistakes. Some of my mentors, like, never buy anything at auction or foreclosure or an REO if the owner's still living in there. Because if they know how to fight the foreclosure, they can pretty much fight it indefinitely, especially if the loan was originated between like 2000 and maybe 2009, 10, because that's when these loans were getting chopped up and sold left and right. And, like now they can't really track it. Title is messy. So they can't, they can fight the foreclosure if it was that type of loan pretty much indefinitely. And I know people who are stuck with it to this day. So.
Okay, so I think it's called Swift Home Offer. You guys know that?
Swift Home Offer. No, I never heard of them.
Yeah, Swift Home Offer. I don't know if maybe like they are, operate under a few different brands. But one of the things that also kind of rubs me a little bit the wrong way was that he was, I emailed the guy directly and was like, "Hey, listen, just a heads up, blah, 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 blah." And then he responded and asked for the pictures. And I don't remember the back and forth. But at some point I said to him, "Hey, listen, if you get stuff, if you're doing deals here in Maui, I'm happy, we can discuss doing like a co-wholesale sort of thing. I have a pretty healthy buyers list. I think I said like I have like 150 or something, like cash buyers, legitimate, local, real, full-time investor kind of buyers."
Mhm.
Obviously I'm not sending this deal to them, but like if you, just letting them know, like if you
Yeah.
got the price right on this deal, or if you got another, you know, something that was a real deal. You know, so you can have some boots on the ground here, because honestly, I would rather see him partner with somebody local than be blasting out stuff like this that's going to end up screwing someone over because he doesn't know any better. And he responded and to my email about 150 cash buyers. He replied with something like, "Yeah, bro, we got 6,400 cash buyers on Maui." Boom, like like something like ridiculous like that. And I was like, "You're telling me 6% almost of the population of Maui is on your buyers list? Come on."
He probably
man.
scraped it like from like years ago. Like, it's like there's
Yeah. I was like, bro, anybody can go on prop stream and pull off like buyers, but that doesn't mean they're real cash buy. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're just
Yeah.
trying to blast every single
He
person.
sounds new.
in the-
He sounds new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I either knew or just like that mindset of like, let me blast out as many, deals
Yeah.
at 3%
Where
below market
where
value
where
as
are
I
they
can.
based out of? Is it like Swift Home Offers?
Yeah. Swift Home Offers. His phone number is 619. I don't know where that is. Well, let me pull up his website and see.
Yeah, it does sound familiar now that you mention it. That's not Ryan Panetta's
That's
brand?
not. That's not. It's
Oh
not.
shit, I hope not.
But they don't. Ryan guys don't do work in Hawaii. I mean, but then it could be somebody, one of his students or something. I don't know, like the
Mm,
San Diego area code.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Is that what 619 is?
Yeah, I mean, like not like it just not like really matters. I don't want to like take all the time. Just curious.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, it's like I wonder if somebody I know or in our network or something. It's just
I mean, because honestly,
Yeah.
if
Because
they
if
bought
it
it at
is, like,
auction,
maybe we can help.
nah, yeah, if they bought it at auction, like if anything, they're credit to them. They took the risk. They put it on the line. They hopefully helped a distressed homeowner. But now it's like, okay, how are you gonna exit this now? You're gonna dump kind of a junk deal on somebody else. Like either they got to take a haircut because
Yeah.
they didn't know what they're getting themselves into, or
But also, Corey, it was not not like a commissioner's sale or anything like that. This is just on Zoom. So just online auction.
yeah,
So like, I mean, like, yeah, you're still like taking a little gamble there, but you know how they work, right? Like anybody can go see the listing on Zillow, right? Because they put them on MLS.
yeah,
Anybody could just go put in a bid and then lock it up. And if you don't, get a buyer within a couple days or something, you can just not send your earnest money to the bank and then they'll just cancel you. Like, I mean,
you don't have to. I know
I don't have a lot of experience
some
with
sites
this,
you
but
have
I
to
kinda
put
know.
down that EMD ahead of time. And this one here, there's like no, you don't have to drop any cash.
Well, it probably depends on the website. I haven't
Yeah.
done a lot of those. I've only won maybe like 2 or 3 times on the
Mhm.
online auctions, but like they took your credit card to put a hold on it, but I don't know. It probably depends on which one, but I don't think they actually charge you the EMD. Or no, here's what it is. I think it's that you have to sign the contract. So
right,
like I had them one time I won, and then I won it was like a cheap rental condo I was buying for like, and I think I won it for like 112,000. And they wanted to, after I won the auction, they were like, the bank wants to know your highest and best. It's like they do that every time. It's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, you already know my highest and best. I won the auction for 112. And they came back and they were like, no, we won 117. And I
oh,
was like, you're insane.
yeah.
I was like, out of good faith, I'll come up to 113 or 114 or something. I don't know. I was like, here, I'll throw you a couple grand, get you to shut up, you big bank. And
Was that the fee simple or leasehold?
no, that was leasehold.
Mm.
Yeah, leasehold.
I was gonna say, man,
and I have a-
113,000 out in Maui. Tell me where this is. I want some of those deals.
That was pretty close to retail too. I mean, at that time, the units in that building, I have 3 units
Yeah.
in that building. That's why I'm like willing to buy there. but it was like, I think the market value was like around 130 or something like that. So like, I was like, man, this is pretty generous offer I'm giving you guys. I shouldn't even be paying this much.
What
And
is the lease? What was the term? Was it like 30 years or more, or was it a short lease?
right now, that was probably 3 or 4 years ago. Right now, there's 27 years left on that lease. And I suspect so that lease is owned by 5 different families, heirs. So it's not like, one big corporate, or whatever. Like, I don't know much about leasehold stuff. I just know this one property. But
Mm.
the my theory is that, bro, like all these heirs, I mean, it's gone on to probably like 20 people now, that between all the kids that are splitting it up. So they're each probably getting $500 a month or something out of the lease rent. And so my theory is, I think that they are going to want to sell the lease at some
Yeah.
point. They'll probably each walk away with like $200,000 or something. That's kind of like what I'm betting on. I need to make a decision, because with 27 years left, I either need to start selling some of my units there within the next 2 years before, while you can still get because right now you can get a 20-year mortgage, but in 2 years, that's going to drop to 15.
Yeah.
So I think that at that time, that would be kind of the turning point of when the value might not really be so bullish, and it might, start to show signs of cracking.
Yeah.
So,
But
and
if you
another
buy
theory that I have,
if you're gonna buy the lease out though, then you don't have to worry about how long.
exactly. Well, that's what I got to decide. Like, but I don't know that for sure.
You don't know if it's on the
like
table.
we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you talked to them at all yet, or took their temperature on it?
I mean, the lessors, like,
Or at
I
least
doubt
one of
I
them?
could ever.
Talk to at least one of them?
No, they wouldn't even talk. I'm sure there's some super rich families out in Honolulu. I would
Yeah.
I would assume. Maybe I'm wrong.
But man,
Maybe
if
they're
they
not
sell
rich
the
at all.
lease,
And like,
yeah. I mean, if they sell the
Yeah.
fee, sorry. If they sell the fee one day, like, yeah, that could be huge for you. Nice.
well, so I also think that regardless of what this family chooses to do, which I think that they would choose to either sell the lease or maybe renew the lease. Regardless of what they choose, I have a theory that as these leases are coming due, these like lessors, I don't think the state is just going to allow these people to say, okay, sign your deed over, give me the keys, you're out of here today. Like with our housing situation now, even though contractually my lease says that I will hand over my keys on November 29th of 2049. But I kind of think that the state is not going to let that happen because of the housing, because then that's going to throw all these people out in the street, right? So that the landowner can then bulldoze the building and, build a hotel or something.
Well, I guess it depends what the economic environment and where we go with regulation and in 27 years. So,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we'll work
but
about
like,
that later, I guess.
Is housing gonna be like, that's so like, I gotta decide right now, do I want to keep these things? Am I bullish on what's gonna happen? And I'm leaning towards like maybe sell one of them or two of them, whatever. But like, I do, and I only have 3 leaseholds, so it's not like a lot of them or anything. But
Yeah.
I do think that I'm, I don't think I want to unload them all or anything, because I do think that it's going to work out. I don't see.
I agree with you. I think like just hold it and see what happens back then, right? Like maybe like 5 or 10 years out, you can like make another decision, but you have like a lot of time to kind of like to write this thing out and kind of like decide.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, their cash flow, and they make like 25% returns. So I have all my money back in 4 or 5 years anyways. So it's just cash flow, and it's such a small amount of money. Like their last 2, they're worth about $250 each now. So still relatively cheap.
As leasehold, they're worth $250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, their sales are like, the highest sales are like $320. in the complex. So
Mm.
the renovated ones are worth about 300.
Dang, that was a good buy, man. I stay away from leasehold. I just something about it. I don't know. I want to own
I
everything.
would have if I hadn't stumbled into this one. The reason I stumbled into this complex is because I got a unit for 80,000,
Right.
and then I put in, that was my most textbook burr I've ever
I
done.
mean, like
I
if
bought it
it
for 80.
leasehold is scary if it's like under 5 years, but if you got like 30 years left on it, then like it's like
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a slightly different animal.
Yeah. Even if it's
Yeah,
15, if you have 15 years, I think you're all right. But
15
yeah,
is where it starts to get sketchy to
starts to
me,
get a
because
little
that's when
bit.
it's
Yeah.
not really financeable.
Yeah. Hopefully everyone knows
But
what
hey, you guys have
leasehold
a
and
lot of leasehold over there. So have you guys seen any leasehold properties where the lease expired and basically the owners had to hand over the keys?
Well, now that you mention it, like I haven't, but yeah, actually I haven't even heard of anyone that happening to anyone.
I mean, I guess you got to be paying attention to leaseholds to see that. But I was
Right,
talking to
true.
Alan Shishido, who is the he was the general appraiser on Maui for a long time, and I guess he's retired now, but he's working at Lowe's. So I was at Lowe's talking to him for like an hour the other day, and he was telling me about how that's what's happening on Oahu. Like these guys are already, you know, the leases, because you guys have so much leasehold over there. On Maui, we've got like 3.
Oh,
But no, we don't have very much at all. We might have like 10 or 15 at the most. I don't know, something like that. You guys have all this leasehold everywhere.
Yeah.
And he was saying that in Oahu, like a lot of the ones where the leases have actually been coming up,
Mm,
the state is telling them you got to negotiate, like, or the county or whoever, somebody, like the government is not allowing them to just force them to uphold the contract,
wow.
which is, I was shocked. Like I haven't heard anything about that, but I'm like, that's great news for me because that's what I think is going to happen here too.
Yeah. Well, Kevin,
but it's-
thanks Kevin for putting that in the chat, because he said that he actually knows of 2 instances on Oahu. Saw it happen 2 times.
Oh wait, okay. So Kevin, are you saying 2 times where they took the property back from the lessees, or 2 times where the state stopped them from doing it?
Yeah, I think 2 times everyone had to get kicked out. And then one of my friends was a lawyer defending the landowner, and then they won, so everyone had to leave. I think
Wow.
on Oahu they're pretty tough.
Yeah. So that probably sets precedent too. If it's
That's
happened
a good
before.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I used to live at Kahala Beach, and I think they only have like 6 years, and I'm pretty sure it looks like Camp Schools is gonna take it back. So
Wow.
there's like 200 or 300, I think, units.
Wait, Kahala Beach,
Those
Which-
condos.
the condos by the hotel.
Part
Yeah.
of the hotel, man. I was actually thinking about renting or buying a leasehold there, like because that's like good living over there. But it's do you want to gamble with that leasehold at the end too? But that was super interesting, like super interesting situation because they're going like cheap. Like some of the units are going like 50 grand or something. I remember.
What out there? Oh, probably
But
because
it's only like a
almost-
few years left
Yeah.
on the lease, et cetera. You know.
Yeah, I think I saw one go for like
5
20
years ago,
grand.
We looked at one and it was like 80 grand to
20 grand.
buy.
Guys, we can make money with if it's 20 grand, let's buy these, right?
Well, you
I
get like a
think
maintenance
flow-
fee and some stuff. I don't know how the rental policy will work too. Like, but then yeah.
I think the expenses are like 4 grand a month.
Yeah, because you gotta pay for like the hotel. I mean, like the amenities or whatever kind of stuff.
But you can't. Did anybody run numbers on it? Like you
I
can't.
ran numbers on some of them before, but it was dicey the one I was looking at. But it
Yeah.
wasn't. It was like I think it was like 100 something.
Does the $20,000 one? Does that need repairs?
I think it
Does it
needed
need like 200,000 in repairs?
yeah. Well, not that much, but maybe 50.
So all in for 70. Even if you cash flow like 2 grand, then by the end of the year, that's 24. Oh yeah, that's cutting it close. So then you only have like 3 years of profits.
Well,
before-
the thing is, like, we cash flow 2 grand after all your expenses. Like, if you're paying 4 grand a month in like just maintenance and like whatever, like Kahala Beach fees or whatever, Then like
Yeah.
you got T. I don't know if you're doing
There you go.
Airbnb or
Oh,
not,
saying
TAT
hi.
or whatever. I don't know. It could be depending.
Yeah. Yeah, the TAT tax is brutal too. Then you gotta pay GE tax and then the federal tax. It's like, that's why, like, yeah, it was hard for me on the short term side. I
Also,
got,
Hey, Corey.
just not pay it. I don't feel. I feel like there was no consequence, but then I was like, my conscience would bother me.
yeah, yeah. Oh
Hey,
man,
Corey. It's Kurt.
Kurt, how's it?
How's it? I have Heidi Ho. She's a realtor. Maybe she can shine in on that leasehold. If you
Yeah.
have questions for her.
And also,
Hi,
Heidi, did you have something? Oh, you
You gotta
muted.
unmute Heidi. Heidi, you're unmuted. Heidi, you're unmuted. Mute,
Am
mute,
I
mute. There you
unmuted
go.
now? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Why don't
Okay.
you give your take on the leasehold,
Well,
your
on
experience?
Kahala Beach specifically, the carrying cost on that between the maintenance fee and the lease rent is super high. It's like 4 to 5, 5,200 for a 2 or 3 bedroom. So that's kind of that's a tough carry. And I think the rumor goes back and forth is that Kamehameha is going to either increase the lease rent when the leases expire and perhaps negotiate extension of the lease, or they'll take it back. I mean, the fact is that they probably can't redevelop it, take it down, build something new. I think that SMA would prohibit that. So those are the 2 options. You're probably going to end up paying a much higher lease rent, or they might take it back.
Thank you for that, Heidi.
Yeah.
That's actually great insight.
Yeah. So the people that really are buying into that at this point
Yeah, who?
are retirees, people that,
Yeah.
you know, I have friends that are like 80 years old that bought into that, and they're like, I'm going to live on the beach for the rest of my life and have this fabulous, because they're beautiful. Some of them are beautiful. They're big units. So those are the guys. They can afford to be there and carry that kind of monthly.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. And Heidi, did you have a listing you wanted to kind of put out there to everybody?
I
For investment?
do. And Kurt invited me because he said that you guys were all, you know, all interested in development and properties that may have a long, you know,
Well,
profitability at the end. So I have 85 acres in Makakilo,
Mhm.
and it's called Makakilo Bluffs. It's currently listed at $9,995,000. And it's zone Ag 2. The interesting part about this is that it is within the future development plan for EVA. So
Okay.
it's in the urban expansion area, and all discussions with DPP, city council, the politicians, mayor, governor, all of these guys, they want housing. And whether, you know, anything affordable is still in the 600-700 plus range. So it could be affordable or market. The street, you know, the properties right adjacent to this are listing at like homes, single family homes are like between 1.2 and $1.8 million. So potential for development of homes and you know, meeting a need for Honolulu is great. I don't know if that's something that anybody in your group would be looking at, or even have, you know, the circle of people that you're connected to that might be looking for an opportunity like that.
Yeah, it's
But
possible. Yeah, we
yeah,
have clients
because-
that do that.
yeah, it's in all the discussions at DPP, they said that the maximum use would be R5 or even A1. You know, low density
rezone it?
apartments. Yeah, if you go through the rezoning process and take it from ag into residential, you can. I did get confirmation from DPP, zone verification, that you could either designated as R5 or A1, which is low density apartment, but you know, the 3-story kind of apartments.
Well, you basically unlock like double the amount of units you can put there, right? So Ag 2 means that you can have one dwelling or one house per 2 acres, right? So if you have
One farm
85,
dwelling per 2 acres,
you have
right?
85
Farm-
acres, then that's like 40 houses, roughly. Now, when you factor in roads and setbacks and walls, all that, you're probably not going to get 40, right?
Yeah, like 35,
Yeah.
something like that, you know?
So that's a
But-
pretty decent sized project. It's not too big. It's not, you know,
Right.
too small for some of the developers out there. My only concern is that it takes forever to go through DPP. And like, what type of, you said you got confirmation, like, did they actually give you written like confirmation that it could be rezoned?
Yeah.
And
So one thing that you can ask, and this is what I learned, you know, hey, we learn something new every day in this business, is that if you pay a fee and ask all these questions to get zoning verification from DPP, they will answer your questions in a very thorough mode. So yes, you can do all of the ag uses, farm, ranching, you can build farm dwellings, you can build solar. You can do any of these clean energy things on the property. Or if you would go to rezone, you can get R5 or A1. Or if you utilize the city, it's called the H201, Affordable Housing
Mhm.
Act, which allows you to get through the process. You don't really, you go through the city to get it's not really a zoning change, but you're allowed to, you're allowed to build houses. So it's kind of a shortcut method to get through the zoning process.
Got it. I've never
Yeah,
been to that,
there
so
are
that's
options.
interesting. Is the land flat or sloped?
It's a gentle slope. So when you come off H1, the
Mhm.
location is great. You take the first right off Makakilo Drive.
Okay.
Or if
So
I'm,
it's,
if I'm
you don't have
able
to go all the way up the hill.
or if I'm able to share my screen, I can show where it is.
Sheena, can you help Kurt with that, please?
There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the land and the topography.
Yeah, I can actually send you.
Yes,
I did
yes,
a video. But I just don't know how to share it with you.
Gotcha.
Here you go.
Yeah, so the red outline, see, it's right off the freeway. Where that yellow line goes, just those single family homes there are like 1.2, 1.7 million. They're either, and that price is like active, sold, and in escrow. And then the 85 acres is outlined in red. So the views are from,
Yeah.
you know, Waianae to Diamond Head on pretty much every single step of that property.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That looks like it should be residential, I feel.
Well, and that's what everybody in the government is saying, because there's not enough housing, right?
Right.
So,
Has anyone started the process, or because
yeah,
I've
my
just very long
clients,
time.
my clients actually put in for an ag cluster, which would have
Cluster?
been the 35 homes, you know, a much smaller amount.
Mhm.
But they were actually, and it would have been beautiful. This was during COVID. They wanted to meet the needs of a sustainable agricultural community. So 50 acres in crops, 35 acres designated for farm dwellings and homes. So it seemed to like meet the needs of both,
Mhm.
but they got turned down by DPP. So the DPP, they said that it didn't quite meet I don't know if you know the like Gentleman Farm. There's kind of a,
Mhm.
they felt it was more of a gentleman farm than a housing community. Anyway, a technicality. So they said, why aren't you developing houses? It should be R5 or A1 in that you're surrounded by residential, build residential. So, yeah, which makes sense, but my clients really wanted to do an ag, this kind of thing that was better for the ag and population. So they didn't really want to build 500 homes or whatever. you know.
500?
Well, I mean, the thing that's limiting would be water, right? So it's really, 300, you could probably put 300 units is the number that's been thrown out and talked about with DPP. I mean, until you really submit a master plan and go through that process.
Yeah, I guess so. 85
yeah.
acres, that's a lot of square footage. So
A
you could
lot of
fit
house.
those
It's a lot
5,000
of
square
house.
foot lots out there. The concern, so now that I'm looking at the land and like just the outline, it's actually, this is when it comes to development, right? It's like you can buy the land for a pretty good price. Like, what is it? 10 mil? Yeah, so about 10
Yeah.
mil, 85 acres, which could possibly be rezoned. And if you can rezone it to R5, I mean, that, in my opinion, that value goes up. That's where the investor, I think, would provide value, is putting up the 10 million and going through the process of rezoning it to R5. Now, whenever you honestly, like, if anything has the words rezone in it, like, I'm not even interested, because it's just, I've never been on that process, and I've just heard
Right.
horror stories. But if the city is motivated to rezone, especially right now, because they need new houses, we need more houses here. And then if the city's got your back, and if they've committed in writing, which they never like to do, and I rarely do, then I say it turns into a really good opportunity, in my opinion. If you can scramble up the 10 mil to buy the land, and then plus extra to rezone, but if you're gonna go all the way through to try to develop it, that's a long-term commitment and a lot of risk, in my opinion. Like, that's the big boys. Let the big boys pay that. Have you
Well,
got
this
any
is
interest?
This is definitely a big boy game. There are a lot of, I mean, are people, a lot of mainlanders are actually even looking. And local people are a partnership of both.
Have you talked to
So-
people from DR Horton and stuff, or?
Yeah, I've talked to,
Other guys?
my clients bought it from DR.
Oh, DR
So
Horton.
DR Horton went down to, they developed that whole mountain. And you know how steep Makakilo is, right? So if you see those big, giant stone retaining walls, I mean, they did much of that. So I think after a lot of that, they went down to Eva, nice flat plains,
Yeah.
to develop that.
Whoa.
But that said, I just sent Kurt a link to the video that you can see.
Okay.
So it really
All right.
is.
I texted to you, Corey, so you can take a look at it on your own time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. So it's not a severe slope like when you get higher up onto Makakilo.
Yeah. I know exactly where this is. That's why I asked about DR Horton, because I know that they were responsible for a lot of the development out there.
Right.
But if you already talked, or if your clients bought it from them, then yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not going to want to buy it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've done a lot of work. They did a lot of work just to get to the ag cluster point, from, sort of topos and surveys and, agricultural, not agricultural, but archaeological research and all that. So neighborhood board meetings, the whole gamut of stuff.
Yeah. You know who,
So
I think
there's
you
a
know
lot of
who,
info.
I put Heidi's information on the chat, so if you want to contact her offline. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you for allowing us to
Yeah, thank you,
speak.
Heidi.
Yeah,
anybody
appreciate
have
the
any-
opportunity.
Does anybody on the call have any questions for Heidi? If not, I put the contact information on there.
Thank you, Kurt. Appreciate
Thank
it.
Heidi.
you.
Thank you, Heidi.
Yeah, it's an interesting chat group. I'm thank you for letting me join.
Yeah, come by anytime. Thank you
Okay.
for sharing. That's actually an exciting listing you have. So yeah, we wish you the best. And if anybody does have anybody that might be interested, I mean, that's a big project, but there's big money in it too, potentially, right? So if anybody does know anyone, feel free to reach
And-
out to Heidi.
And Heidi, you are negotiable on the price, correct?
Believe it or not, we've had several offers. We're in escrow a couple times and it's always been at the asking price.
Really?
Not over. We haven't gone into that competitive bed like on my other listing, but it's always been at the ask.
Yeah, good. Well, we wish you the best of luck with that one too. And
Thanks.
I got your contact now. Because yeah, we do have clients that kind of do this, but it's really like when they're ready. Yeah, it's the timing.
Right.
The timing is everything at that level. So,
Yeah,
but that's
Thank you, Heidi.
that's an exciting one.
Thank
That's
you.
a
pretty
lot.
Heidi.
fun. Learn a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
Nice
you,
to meet you
Heidi.
guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
And hey, Corey, I just posted, shared something in the chat that is a listing that is on the far exact opposite end of the spectrum.
Okay.
I just put one of my rentals up on MLS.
Nice.
And it's at Harbor Lights. And it's listed for 200,000, 199,000. And the average sales price right now is 280,000. One just sold for 320, I think. So it's pretty discounted. It's fully renovated, and it's a screaming deal. Just not title. Title's just not insurable, but don't worry about that.
Don't worry about the uninsured title. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, title's not insurable. So for somebody that wants to just park cash,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I had it. I've had it for like
Is this
3
the
years,
same-
and I just,
This is the same building, the leasehold.
No. This one is at Harbor Lights, so it's fee simple. It's in Kahului. Rented out for 2,000 a month. No, this one's fee simple.
Oh,
The maintenance fees are 730, and taxes are about 30 a month. So insurance about 30 a month. So a cash flow is about 1,100 a month.
not bad.
So for someone that just wants to like park some cash and produce cash flow, if they're not too worried about maximizing your leverage and cash on cash returns,
You rented
which is
long
what
term?
I did with it. Yeah. And I have a really good tenant. I have a HUD tenant. She's a veteran. She is a single mother, woman of color,
What type of loan do you have on it,
and
bro?
just like somebody that no loan,
Oh,
because it's
free
not
and clear?
financeable.
Oh, you like be my bank? I buy it
Yeah.
from you.
I thought about it, but like after I got really close to thinking about like carry the financing, but then I just decided ultimately I was like, man, why it doesn't make any sense for me to do that unless I just needed the down payment, unless I needed
Right, yeah.
the down payment,
Yeah.
because basically I'm not getting my cash out of it, so I can't really go reinvest. And the only reason I want to sell this one is because I close on another rental to tomorrow, Monday. Yeah, but today's Friday. So Monday we close on this other house that I had to put like 215,000 as a down payment, and I didn't have 200,000 right now. So I had to put it on the HELOC. And I don't like being leveraged like that, like I would rather just pay off that HELOC, So I just decided, well, I gotta sell one of my rentals. I looked at everything and I was like, you know what? This one is the lowest return on equity of all my units. So it makes the most sense, and I would get the most cash out of it since there's no loan on it. So it was the one that made the most sense to sell, even though at the same time, it's the nicest renovation I have for a unit at Harbor Lights. So I really didn't want to sell it. And I think that the title will be cleared up like in the next few years, probably, maybe, hopefully. I don't know. But so I think that there's upside potential there. The reason it's not insurable is because there was an NJF in like 10 years ago. So the title companies just they just made a blanket statement that they just won't touch an NJF with title insurance. So like if you do your due diligence on this one, you'll find there's nothing to worry about. Like it's all legit. It doesn't matter. The title companies they just won't insure them.
Yeah, well,
Hey, Greg, when was that? Was that recently? Or you couldn't, you couldn't
The
get,
type, the NJF was done in 2014, 15 era. And then I bought this unit in 2020, and that's when I checked with all the time. But I also just checked, like I just called
okay,
TG,
Okay.
you know, First Hawaii, First American, they all, you know, they're all like, no, they just automatically didn't even look at it. They're like, oh, it's got an NJF, we're not insuring it. So, which is frustrating because like
Kurt, could
the
you
only
insure?
problems you've had with NJF properties have been properties that
you never called me. No, just kidding.
Oh, you never called Kurt, bro. That's why.
Uh,
No.
Uh, Greg, just
oh,
Greg, if you can send me your contact, and then no promises, but I can see what I, you know, who knows, right? So why don't you send me your contact and see what I
Wait, hold on. Is
I'll
the
find
price
out.
gonna go up though?
oh yeah.
Nah, that's awesome. Thank you, Kurt.
Yeah.
Now you know what, Greg? Sell them to me for 200, and then yeah, Kurt, I'll give you a call later.
Greg, why don't we, Greg,
Uh,
Greg, I know what it is, but Matt asked, what is it? What you just said, the NGF.
oh yeah,
What?
explain that, Greg. Wait, hold on, you're cutting out.
So most of the time,
Okay, ready?
shoot, you know,
I
Sound
think
like
you're
a
good.
robot. Sound like a robot.
Yeah, I want to make sure to hear this. That's why. You're cutting out, dude.
Okay, so okay, I'm gonna be somebody else explain it because I'm gonna be out of.
No, you're good. You're good. Go,
You're
go,
good.
go.
Go.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, there's two main ways that the foreclosures are done in Hawaii, judicially and non-judicially. Thank you so much. Most of the time when you hear of a foreclosure, it's going to be a judicial foreclosure, which means that it's gone through the courts. And those are, I don't know, I guess they're thought of as being more reliable because a judge oversaw, you know, confirmed all the details of the sale. But a lot of times what will happen is in an association, the association will do what's called a non-judicial foreclosure, which means they don't have the courts verify, you know, or confirm and oversee the sale. So the judge, you know, there's no judge involved. The associations do this because it's much cheaper and faster, but it's also a little bit riskier because there's nobody, I guess. This is also like my kind of interpretation of the difference. Is it because there's nobody like confirming that everything, you know, is done properly. So yeah, basically non-judicial foreclosure is just a way of doing a foreclosure that is much quicker and cheaper because a judicial foreclosure is long and expensive.
But the trade is that it's not really confirmation to the guys insuring title, right? So so if you want clear title.
Well, the question, the issue arose because really what the issue came up, like, this is a new problem. This has not always been a problem. Non-judicial foreclosure, I mean, again, this is my understanding. I'm not an attorney or anything, but non-judicial foreclosure was just standard practice for forever until the recession hit. And then we saw a huge flood of NJFs mostly from associations. I have actually seen a couple times where banks did non-judicial foreclosures, which is really interesting. But almost all the time, if you hear NJF, they're usually talking about maintenance fees, you know, the association foreclosing for maintenance fees. But I think this started to become a problem when somebody found that their association didn't have the power of sale in their documents, which meant that the association just never had the right to do the foreclosure to begin with. And this is a property that, I mean, like basically the case that Hawaii has been using as kind of their, what's it called, case law or whatever, like
Really? Your property? Oh,
No, no,
oh.
no,
I
no.
was like, this little
No, I'm
condo.
just-
They're using this little condo.
No, not at all. No, 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 no. I mean, I was just gonna explain. No, I probably should have worded that
Oh.
differently. The property that they are using as a case study or case, what's it called? Case law or whatever.
Yep.
That one sold for $1.2 million in 2012 or 2010 or something at the non-judicial foreclosure. That's what it sold for. So at one in the peak of the recession, at the foreclosure auction, this thing sold for $1.2 million. The point I'm getting at with that is that it's probably safe to assume that property is probably a $3 to $4 million property today,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And the point of all this is that those are the properties that people were coming back and challenging, right? Because they're like, hey, I'll pay, I'll spend 100, 2, 3, 400,000 in legal fees if I'm very confident that I'm going to get my $3 million property back for free,
Yep.
So, anyways, I'm just explaining all this is kind of like why I think like, oh, it's not a one size fit all. Like, okay, if it's got an NJF, it's risky, right? Because in this case, like, so the reason I chose to buy this condo is right on the whole. At first, I thought like, oh no, I probably don't want to touch that. But then I said, let me do some due diligence, and like, I threw out a low number. I bought it for 50,000, so it didn't really, wasn't bad. And
Greg, you always do good deals, man. Like, even if it's leasehold, like something like I wouldn't touch, it's like, man, you make money. So you know how, man. Thank you for
I'll be flexible to like just, like, hey, you want to get a good deal, you got to be willing to like solve some problems, take some risk.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing, brother. And
Yeah.
keep us updated on that too. And the on that one. And best of luck with the listing. So
Thanks.
Well, thank you guys again for jumping on. If anybody has any last things, feel free to unmute or throw it in the chat real quick, because I usually try to take a real quick snapshot of the chat. Sometimes I miss everything that happens in here. But
Oh, I didn't get Kurt's email.
oh, Kurt.
Oh, I'll put my contact information. Also, I can offer to you guys on this group, anytime you're kind of like scratching your head about this property, just send me an email. I can send you a property profile. The property file just tells you who's on title and when they took out the mortgage. It doesn't have any liens or anything like that. I can send that to you, no cost to you, so you have an idea, because you got to be careful in this world. There's a lot of scammers out there, especially land. Be careful with land. I think I mentioned this before. Be careful when someone calls you and say, hey, I'm selling my land. Would you like to buy it? You don't know who this person is. There's a lot of people scamming on there. So anytime I put my information on, just call me or email. I can send you a property profile, no cost to you guys. Thanks.
Yes, please. Thank you, Kurt. Right on. Thank you, guys. This is what it's all about, man. So hopefully you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you guys next week. Matt, hey, how's it going? Sorry, I should have asked. It's first time seeing you kind of on. Oh, I think you're muted. Or can you guys hear Matt? Oh. Oh, Kurt, can you drop your contact in the chat for? Oh, you did.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Matt, how's it going, man?
Can you guys hear me all right?
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was actually on one other time before, quite a ways in the past. Before I've been in the mortgage business for about 15, 16 years, and I took a break for about a year, and I'm a big emerging tech guy. So I was in this space talking rep and blockchain and all that side of things, because I have a lot of passion there, as well as on the AI side with everything that's going on. I'm curious. So do you guys do? Is everybody kind of doing a lot of? And I'll keep this kind of short, but rehab stuff to where you may get use out of. I just came across a really cool AI tool called Decor AI XYZ, where you can just take a picture of a room and then you can just auto generate versions of styles of that, which I could see for somebody like flipping a property, that could be super dope. And so I was like, oh, that might be valuable to some people in here. Does
Dude,
that
I
sound like?
need that.
Yes,
like right
please
now.
share that.
I need
Please,
that like right
please,
now.
please, please.
I'll tell you what.
Just
I'm
give it
gonna
to me.
put together.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can check it out if you want, but I was thinking about, I want to start like putting myself on social media a little bit more, and I was gonna make a quick little video of it and like share it. Maybe I could come in next week and give you guys, a
Dude,
little
yeah.
heads up on that as far as like getting my information or whatever. I'm gonna work something up real quick. But the tool is called Decor DECOR AI.xyz. I think it's dope. I used it once, and I'm using all that stuff. Like if anybody has any tech questions or things, and I have questions, I want to learn from you guys in this space because I'm very curious in a lot of different areas, and I'm not sure what those questions or developments are going to be until they kind of happen. But if anybody's curious about any of the stuff that I'm rambling about, or I don't know.
I
want to bring
definitely am.
value where I can.
I
I'm
definitely
also American Savings Bank, so we do all kinds of lending.
open up an
You
account,
know,
guys.
yeah, I open up an account, or let us know how we can help. We have some broker options for DSCR and stuff like that for rental properties that do cash flow out nicely. If someone, who knows how that can work out. That's not. I was here more to just kind of learn some from you guys, see what everybody's doing, and I'm gonna try and make it on a little more regular basis. But I'll
Yeah.
share that info too next week further.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it, man.
Right on.
But yeah,
Thank
if
you
you
guys.
if you do
Hey,
figure the app out and you're free Friday, same time, jump on and we can go through it. I'd love to see it. Love to
Oh,
see
it's
it.
dope.
Hey,
Yeah,
can you give us the name of that website again?
yeah, sure. It's here, let me show
I
you
didn't
guys
find
something real
it.
quick too. This was
I'm
just
really
like,
excited
I
about
found
that.
it. I
I'm
just
looking for
I
that.
want
dropped
to
it
show
in the
you this.
chat.
So this was actually, hold on, that's not the, hold on. All right, so I'm just gonna show you a real quick taste of it. If you don't
And
mind.
Ben dropped the link in the chat if you guys need.
Oops. So this was that's our office at ASB. That's how it looks. And then it just auto generates different like possible options, and you can do all kinds of style variations and stuff. So the app is, again, I think it's Decor AI.xyz. I believe that's the name of it. But anyways, these tools are insane right now, and there's all kinds of value we can get from this stuff, guys, in all different
Absolutely.
areas, whether it's financing, rehabbing properties, buying, investing. It's crazy right now. Anyways, that was it.
Good. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, just that one little thing you showed is like that's amazing. So yeah, AI, man, we all gotta stay ahead of this thing as much as we can. I mean, we can't. I mean, it's already too like so far. Like we use AI, for our sales, and it works. Like it's going off script. It's like, I'm like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this, like, yeah, it's great, but it's also like kind of creepy, right? So
Well, that's what everybody says. Is it's exciting and it's scary all in
Yeah.
the same time. Like it's amazing, but at the same time, you're like, wait a minute, we got to make sure we have this kind of reined in a bit. And
Yeah.
but right now, the people that are going to be using these tools and building off them are going to kind of separate themselves in a lot of areas, I think. So,
Yeah.
anyways, hopefully I can share some of that value. And then on the lending side, let me know how I can help with anything, and
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. That's it.
Thank
for
you,
me.
Matt. Thank
Thanks,
you.
man.
Appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. Hello, everybody.
Have a good one.
Thank you, guys.